Welcome back to another MacLogo video. This is iRacing and week 2 in season 2. We're on Sebring International Raceway. I'm in the Lamborghini Huracàn GT3 Evo and I managed to qualify place 7. We're in a strength of field of 1,665, a little bit more competitive than in the last video, and yeah, we're just trying here to get a nice start, to not crash at the beginning. Still staying inside. I think it's easier to start here on the inside and manage the race at the beginning from the inside, while being outside is also a little bit more difficult, as maybe cars on the inside can get out or can slip out. And I'm lucky here to have already gained P4 after the first turn, basically. The field is quite even. I think there's one guy that is really fast, and otherwise we're pretty much spread. I think almost all of the drivers, or maybe the top maybe 10, 12 or more, managed to run 201s constantly. So it's quite competitive and fun also to race. And anyway, Sebring is awesome. I love the track. It's just the classic with all kinds of different track surfaces and also parts. So let's see how the race will unfold. I'm just trying here to kind of get into the rhythm at the beginning, not lose any positions or so, get into a flow, and then we can see what we can do in this race. From speed-wise, I know that I can go basically around 201-ish, maybe a little bit below. I can with an empty car I can reach slightly below 1.1, but now with the full car the lap times are around I think high ones or something. The setup is an Apex setup. I really like the setups for the Lamborghini. It's a little bit more high downforce, so I'm not that fast in the straights, but I like how it handles, you know, the parts with the curves. I think that is the strength of it. Also turning and anyway, the way the Lamborghini also behaves, yeah, it suits my driving style, I guess. Sometimes there are these kind of oversteery parts. I get caught out sometimes. Doesn't happen that often anymore. Oops! And here P1 and P2 collide, and we gain another 2 spots, unfortunately, for them. And I'm just trying to kind of get close to this AMG. He's faster in the straight line. I think the AMG basically can run a lower wing, which makes it faster on the straight parts. But I also guess it's kind of not the easiest car to drive, surely. So I'm just trying to not to lose the draft, so that I can be slightly faster when going down the straights, using his draft. So the thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to pull nearer in the curves, which wasn't the exit here of this curve, which is important to get speed onto the straight line. Kind of missed it, and I've got 2 Lamborghinis behind myself, which I guess are a similar setup. The Lamborghinis all seem not to be that fast on the straight lines here, but more cars that they work in the curves. I think I like this kind of BOP, as the cars are different, but on this level there doesn't seem to be a car that dominates or so, or maybe I don't notice it, but it's pretty much even I guess you can be good in any car. I've seen Ferraris in front, BMWs, AMGs, McLarens, also of course Audis and Lambos. Yeah, basically the only cars that I haven't seen so far, but I guess nobody drives it, is the Ford GT. But otherwise, you know, really fun races. I'm really enjoying iRacing here. It's competitive on my level. I mean, well, not that I'm competitive or so. It's just, you know, you're kind of bunched up with similar skilled drivers, and this just makes the racing real fun. You have close races, always something, some battles with other races, and in many races, when you have these long battles or really tight battles, and you can chat with the guys afterwards, and mostly it's, you know, it's fun. Just like the close racing, and yeah, kind of chatted with a lot of really nice, good drivers, and also fair drivers. Haven't seen a lot of unfair driving here, I have to say. So far, really, I'm enjoying it. I'm also trying myself to, you know, stay clean, not punt anybody. You know, I get a slight better exit. I should have pulled a little bit nearer and then let go and coast it, but my idea was to save fuel rather, and gain a little bit time when I'm pitting. I don't want to overtake him, because I think it's hard with this car, with the lack of speed on straights, to stay in front. At every exit of the corner there will be cars chasing you, and yeah, the possibility of a crash into the sunset bend or something when there's 2 or 3 wide, it's just too big. That's why I'm staying behind him, behind the AMG, letting him do the lead work, and my goal was here to, you know, stay in P2, save fuel, and then, you know, see how the race evolves, and how much we can maybe gain, or maybe, yeah. But you never know before how a race will turn out, so let's see what. And even so, I saw here in this part I can drive faster, go faster on this AMG. I tried to, or I showed myself a little bit on the left and on the right, just to see how we can handle pressure. If he maybe makes a mistake, gets slower. Because the guys behind the 2 Lambos, they start kind of to catch up. I think because it's just because we're similar skilled, so it's hard to drive away on this level if you're not really, you know, just playing faster than the others. And that's what, I guess, what's happening with the AMG. He would be faster here, but we can keep up in the draft, and there's a nice train. I'm just following him, and we're also with 0.4 near enough to actually feel the draft. Kind of funny how different lines work in sunsets. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm fast here, but it's kind of interesting to see how different you can go through it, and how different you can exit it. Yeah. I'm using a new Race Labs tool here on the top right side, which shows basically the head-to-head that you have with German that is in front of me. You can see that the sectors that is faster are red, and the sectors where I'm faster are green, with a split time. So I will use this later on also in races. I haven't used it before, but it's a good indicator to see how you're gaining or how you lose, and where you gain and where you lose. Actually very nice. I've used this so far. The telemetry that I'm showing here in the middle, I'm not using that anymore when I'm driving myself. I used to kind of to see how my inputs were on the pedals, but I'm kind of used to driving without, and I know how much I need to trail brake or to stay on it. As I said, not that I'm doing it right or that I'm particularly fast, but I just know how much I'm pressing the pedal. So for me, it's more to show my inputs, that you can see what I'm doing or what I'm doing wrong also. Yeah, I also had to lift because I was the car was carried over a little bit too wide. Here, letting go, also coasting a little bit too much. Letting the guy from behind catch up, but it's kind of easy to catch up to this AMG, and at this point I maybe should have changed the strategy to before I made this mistake. This was a typical something that can happen in the Lambo if you are too much on the gas. And here I see that the cars are coming, not rejoining, but pulling back and getting a safe rejoin, staying on this side of the track, so I'm not interfering with the cars that are coming up, because that would be unfair. And also I don't want to ruin anybody else's race, and also don't want to get any additional damage. So the car at this time was luckily not damaged at all. Still, it was just the tires that I hit, so soft impact luckily. But I lost 12 positions on P14, and now I need to get back into the racing. And this was kind of, I was used to racing a little bit lower strength of fields, and it's much easier if you were there. If you fall down from P2 and are on P14, then you just you catch up pretty fast to the other cars once you're maybe 10 cars back, because the differences are still slightly larger, and I feel like, or I guess like, the average racers are between maybe 1600 to 2k maybe, I guess. I'm not sure, but I can feel that the drivers are much more consistent. They're nearer together, which is also nice, but it makes it harder to catch up if you lose time. I mean, yeah, this will get much harder in future. In higher strengths of fields, you shouldn't do any mistakes where you lose that much time anymore, of course. Get more consistent anyway. But I just felt here, just driving, I really have to concentrate, get back into the rhythm, and only when I'm in the zone again, I'm really driving my times again, then I will catch up. And not as long as I'm slower, I'm not in the rhythm. It will take time to catch these guys on P10, P14, P13, as they're also much faster or near to the times that the front runners are doing. And of course it's much more interesting racing like this, because if you're not somewhere back, you will also find somebody to fight and to battle with and to have a good race. So I mean, I of course like to finish in a top position, but for me it's more the fun is if you have a race where you have to recover, where you have to catch up and to stay on it, put your head down, concentrate. I think that's where kind of it's kind of more rewarding at the end. It's just a feeling that you were able to pull back and to gain again, bounce back. That gives you security for other races, also for driving. And because I was kind of unsure coming into this race with such a high strength of field. I'm 30 below the strength of field, and I wasn't sure if I'm fast enough. Of course, I saw in the qualifying laps that I can kind of keep up, but you never know how it would be in the race. Are they also as fast in the race as their qualifying times, or have I just managed to do a good qualifying and I'm not consistent? But being able to to catch up, to rebound from a mistake that you've done, kind of gives you the security to say, okay, yes, I'm seeing my progress, I'm getting better, and it gives you confidence, or for me at least, and helps me stay calm in the race. On the other side, I kind of have to not pull back, just to keep the hot lapping mentality a little bit in bay. When I'm driving a certain amount of laps, then I just feel, hey, I can optimize the next corner and this corner, and you kind of pull these tenth of a seconds each lap more that you can pull out of some corners, and that goes so far until you either crash or do something else stupid. So it's kind of, I have to kind of like get my know where my strength is, and then find these 98% that I should be driving, not overdriving, not trying to hot lap and get faster every lap. I think that's the point where I'm currently at, because at the end I'm making a mistake, and that's making me inconsistent. Oops. Speaking of mistakes, we managed to gain 2 positions here, luckily again. But as you've seen before, Sebring is a track here. Again, there's another guy that's out. Sebring is a track that has a lot of incidents because of the changes in the track, and also the nature of the track. It's just really unforgiving sometimes. And here these 2 riders, oh, yep. Speaking of it, kind of stayed secure here. Went on the brakes and was able to avoid it. I was very unlucky for them. And we have again gained 2 positions. By the way, it's not something that I'm looking forward. I rather have it, just have a clean race with everybody, and have to fight fairly, and kind of have good races, so everybody can get their best out of the race. I think also one fact that's why this race had quite a lot of incidents was it was on Tuesday, so it's the first day. I normally tend to practice a lot on the tracks until I know, hey, yep, I'm secure, I can race it. I'm rather going in then and then making 1 or 2 races. But this was Tuesday. I had been practicing Sebring already in another session, and anyway, last time I did many laps on it because I loved the track, and I wanted to see how much I can improve on it, and that's why I was actually I raced straight away when Sebring was up, with just a few practice laps before, and also after this race on Thursday, I was actually doing a club race on Silverstone. I had to do some more practice for then, so I knew I wouldn't have time to do a lot of practice for it. So, but it worked out so fine so far. Just one stupid mistake that could have been avoided, with the spinalla or spinning, which is kind of Lambo typical. If you overdo it and the car is over-rotating, it's just hard to catch that spin, and you can just try to hit something most of the time. Yeah, but anyway, I still love how it handles, and just the noise and everything. I love the Lambo. I've switched, just turned up the traction control a notch, because I felt I did slide in a few corners, and this corner here, to be honest, I think you're faster, or I've heard from quick drivers, you're actually faster with a lower traction control number, as long as you can keep the tires from spinning. You have a little bit more grip, how do you call it, acceleration with a lower TC. But at the same time, if you're spinning, then the traction control can help you a little bit, or it's a little bit harder to spin. So that's why I thought, with tires get a little bit worse, I turn it up a notch. 7 is still okay, it's still not very intrusive. And I've been running with 7 before. So we're kind of in the middle of the race now. It's about, I think around 20 minutes or 22 minutes into the race, and I'm still slowly catching the other guys, and that's a nice thing. This is the new race lab tool, the head-to-head tool, where I can see where I'm gaining, and I can also see that I'm gaining, and that's cool. I will use this later on also during the races. You see, I just saw in the relatives that I'm pulling nearer, that I'm kind of 3 seconds behind the next guy, around 3 seconds behind of the next guy. And that's a Ferrari. But knowing that I'm lapping a little bit faster, so I should be able to pull him in, or reel him in. And here I did a mistake, and this was what I meant. Also, it's the Ferrari either on throttle, or if you brake and turn in, it's possible that the car will over-rotate. So you're able to catch it, but I lost a lot of time. You can see this in the relative. I lost 1.6 seconds to the front car, and 1.5 to the car behind me. This is a good indicator where you see, okay, that's the amount that I've lost in that part. So really a nice tool. So these things can happen as long as you don't full spin. That's the main thing. I mean, 1.6 seconds. A spin can cost you 10 or 15 seconds, which is much worse, or even cause damage. Which of course we want to avoid. So looking at the relatives, kind of again 3 seconds behind him. I was a little bit less than 3 seconds behind him, but I'm still reeling him in again. And I think I heard that the Lamborghini is a little bit better on tires or tire wear than, let's say, the Ferrari. I think the Ferrari is one of the cars that does degrade the tires a bit and loses speed. So I'm not sure if this affects the guy in front already. Not sure, haven't driven the Ferrari since quite some time. Not even sure if I ever if I've seen that myself or feel that myself, but I guess I'm not a good enough driver to feel that. But it's just something that I heard, that the Lamborghini is more consistent. With I think some cars just seem to degrade the tires a little bit more, that are faster at the beginning of the race and are slower at the end of the race, maybe. But anyway, here on this level, it's more about if you can manage to keep the race clean and to drive nicely, hit the apexes, turn in nice laps. And I think I already did mention that I just love Sebring. This track is just super awesome. not the easiest to learn, and that's the thing I guess I like. Just, you know, mastering these tracks. And if I now look at the relative, we have already gained. So I think we're about 1 seconds behind him, or maybe 1.5, depends on where. I mean, at the end of the straight, it's a little bit larger because how I think it counts. But we're getting nearer. I should be able, or I hope, to reel him in before I'm pitting, so I can pit in front of him. Or otherwise, I will go close behind him and try to overtake him when pitting. I have done some fuel saving a little bit, so when I was in front, so let's see how that will work out in the pits. And I'm also using Racelab's the fuel calculator that will auto refuel. Should not give me a mad amount of fuel, just standards. And normally it worked very, very good so far. And now we can really see how we're pulling nearer. We lost 1/10 in one part. He's fast, he's quicker in one part, but on most other parts I'm gaining 0.2 or 0.3 tenth. Which is interesting, I guess. That's a lower wing, so that 0.1 must be the one part where it's acceleration and speed. And the other parts that are basically more the curves, where of course the car with downforce will gain. And here, being in the draft, he doesn't gain a lot. And I was trying to get another line. And we were able to really reel him in, and then he went to the pits. But that's fine. I thought he would maybe stay out. And we're behind the next Ferrari. Same game as before, trying to get nearer, trying to reel him in, and maybe overtaking before the pit stop. Otherwise, try to do a better pit stop and maybe gain a position. So at this time, there are 3 cars that have been pitting. And I wasn't sure right now if I'm really gaining on these guys, if I'm able to overtake them, or if it will be close when we exit the pit. But I can see here clearly that I'm quicker through most parts of the track than this guy, or basically in the last few parts, through all parts, and we're gaining on this guy. So I guess he has damage or something. And we get a really nice exit here, and that's what I meant. So now I'm trying to get past this guy or have a nice exit, and he's blocking the inside, so I'm going to the outside. I will leave him room, and I'm going around and also going to the pits. I didn't know that he's going to the pits, but now I was slightly early on the brakes, and he was slightly late, so he hit me. A very unfortunate. Cost now some high-speed damage, and I lost time in the pits. Yeah, I guess I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. Shit happens. It's a race incident, but yeah, I think this also ruined a little bit of my concentration. And also for him, he crashed into the wall here and into the next wall. So and I did a mistake by with the clutch. I'm normally using the double clutch for launching the pits, and I was kind of a little bit unfocused because of the crash, so I didn't manage to launch the car properly. And also here going a little bit too wide. I wasn't sure at this time if this was damage or if it was just me not driving properly. But then on the straight I could clearly see here the car seems to be slower. The low speed parts were okay, but he kind of hit something that took away top speed. So I could see it afterwards, or you can see it now in if you compare the relative to the car in front. It's the curvy sections where I can kind of keep up, where I can close in, but as soon as it's only just a short part with acceleration, I'm losing. So my goal here is the guy behind me is fast, and he will catch me if I don't get into the slipstream of the car in front. So my goal here is to catch up to this car, kind of get into the slipstream. That's what I'm trying to do. And here you can see in this part I'm really losing a lot of time on the straights. Didn't hit this corner also really nicely. So yeah. I really lost quite some time here. So now I knew, okay, now I have to focus on really getting the corners nicely if I want to pull near, and the car behind it will reel me in if I cannot catch up to him. So now I'm trying to nail these, kind of to pull near. And here again, as soon as it's a part where with acceleration I lose time. I was able to pull near on the other parts, but the acceleration part down here, this was lucky because the braking, but otherwise I would have lost also in this part. And also luckily be able to pull a little bit away from the Audi behind. I think also in the late stages of the race the TC a little bit higher is okay in these passages. Just if you get on the gas too harsh, a little bit too early, then you shouldn't spin it that easily, or it should be able to. It's pronounced more if the TC kicks in. Makes it a little bit slightly easier to drive. And again, I could pull near in all the sections where it's about curves, and on the straight it's just. I guess he's also having a lower wing, even so it's a Lambo. So the lap time was still okay. It was 2:01. But I'm also on low fuel. So basically at this time, if the car wasn't damaged, I guess this could have been maybe 2:00 laps, I guess, but yeah, it's just the way it is. Try to do the best thing that we can out of this race. Anyway, I'm happy that I can keep up with the guys here with this strength of field, and if I can manage to bring this race like this in, I will get a nice chunk of iRacing. Also a little bit of safety rating, which of course without the crash could have been higher, but that's just the way it is. Doesn't matter. It's okay. Safety rating is not an issue here in, I think, in VRS, as long as you don't crash a lot or hit other cars, which basically is in line with if you drive fair, then you shouldn't have an issue and not lose a lot of safety rating. I think if it's over aggressive, then yeah. Here I was pretty near but on the exit it's just I've no chance to kind of keep up with him, even if in the draft. That's unfortunately, and the car is also slower even in the draft. I barely managed to go over 250, and at first I did have plans to, I thought I could maybe overtake him. But with this speed, it's basically no chance. So that's why my goal is to pull nearer. Funny thing was, I actually talked to Alex, or chatted with Alex after the race, and that this time he thought I'm full attack mode. I want to gain his position, and he was getting quite nervous and had to drive full speed. I was just please let me stay in the draft, let me follow, because I didn't want to get caught by the guy behind us. I was awesome racing, and as I said before, you can meet a lot of really nice people racing, nice and fair people racing also, and have some good chats or some laughs after the races. And here through the insides, this is really where this car is great. The setup also is great. Unfortunately here on this part now I'm lacking power. Not just top speeds. So I have to get a good exit kind of. But even so, here, if you're a little bit slower, you normally catch up because you're in draft. But if you look at the speed, I barely managed to get 250. And I tried to get a good exit here to maybe get a run or something, but it was clear basically here that I can just try to follow him, but I won't be able to make a move or to attack him. So, but that's something he didn't know, of course. And anyway, this is just one part. That's why we're racing, iRacing. It's just pure fun, you know, chasing each other, having these duels or these fights. And here, this was a little bit close. Of course, didn't want to hit him, and yeah, close, kind of. It's a different braking point. This was kind of like a final test to see again if I can catch up. This was the the round before the white flag came, but here I could basically see, you know, it doesn't work. I cannot pull nearer, but I now have enough space to P6, so Marcus shouldn't be able to catch me even if I'm not in draft anymore. So I just try to still stay behind Alex and finish this race. So we are in the last round. And Alex actually said after the race that at this time he was really sweating like mad, and I owe him a new shirt, which is cool, of course. But I can feel him if you're under pressure and somebody's staying behind for this time, and it's near the end of the race. I would get nervous, and I guess it's hard not making a mistake. So kudos to him here for really driving this nice and consistent. Deserved P4, to be honest. And he went really nice and wide to come out of this part. I know this was just that I cannot, as was really well done, that I cannot actually gain on him on this part and maybe get a run on him, but I wouldn't have been able anyway with my slow car, but really nicely done. And this was a really nice race. Was car 18, place 5 of 29 at the end, and strength of field was 1665. So was really happy after this race, even so I had mistakes, I had some issues. I gained I rating 70. That was actually at the end 1700 now. So thanks a lot for watching.